We have another Dr. Jackalyn who is joining us and also from Texas. And she was referred to us by one of our friends here in the platform, which I absolutely love, Marion LaSalle. So let's welcome Dr. Jackalyn Rainosek, who's going to talk to us about our dreams and what we need to know. Let's bring her out. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Howdy.
nice to have you with us. And the fact that you two are neighbors is, what are the odds of that?
Very small. Now he's a little bit farther away from me, but he could easily come in about 40 minutes.
Well, when we
We
think
could have
about
a nice visit.
Yeah.
I hope that does happen. When we think about we have people from all over the world who are on this platform, it is really unusual to have people who are so close to each other. So I hope you will connect. I feel that it was fate. Dr. Jackalyn, what is it that you do in your work to help people?
Well, I really believe and am a certified visionary dream coach. And what I've realized over the years is that there are only about 1% of the people in the world that really know their purpose. And when I went through the training myself, I was surprised because I thought after all these years I would have a clear purpose. And unless I have a clear purpose, then I'm going to have a lot harder time formulating my dreams and really deciding on what is it that I really want to do. And so today, what I realize is my purpose is very clear: to be real and live in truth. So, what it does for me is it helps me define how I'm going to do any kind of activities in my business or any kind of volunteering that I do in my community. For an example, I had a board member asked me if I would serve on a board, and I asked him for his bylaws, of course, and then I asked him what was the purpose and also what was the mission. As I read through it, I started realizing that it did not fit my purpose as well. And in fact, I thought I would be a better consultant for that board and help them move in some ways that would change the culture of that board. So to me, the purpose is the very beginning of working on in the program of visionary dream coaching. What I find with people that have a very defined purpose, they really fulfill their lives and they know they have a very rich and deeper and more meaningful life than they normally do. Now, the reason I think visionary dream coaching works is because it's been systematized and really programmed in such a way that as you advance in the program, then you really change your life. You change what's happening in it. And Maya Weeder has the Visionary Dream Coaching University, and it's an excellent training program, so I would recommend it. But I think what I do myself is I begin with a understanding of what is the intention of the person. What do they really want to do in their lives? And many times when I talk with people, they say, I've thought about dreams every time, and I think about it in December and January, and then I forget about it and I never do anything with it. And I'm very disappointed in myself. And so, as they talk about what they would like to do and what their intention is, then they begin to understand more how they could have one of their dreams. And then the next thing that we go through is we really look at what is your integrity? What is stopping you from having the dreams? And one of the things that I know that is true is many people have incompletions in their lives. And when I go through that particular topic, people will have a long list of things that they know that they started or they couldn't figure out whether they're really interested or not, or they didn't even consider about the fact that they had stopped it and maybe they were even more interested in it, and yet they had not made the decision. And so living in integrity means that I am committed to the things that I have said I will do personally, and I'm committed to the things I will do business wise. And what I found in my own evaluation of myself several years ago is that I was very committed to doing things for my business and my professional life. But then I would lay aside those things, but that were really important to me for my personal life. And so as time has gone on, I'm much better balanced at meeting my needs as well as the needs of my clients. And I think the thing of it is, I don't believe that anybody can meet someone else's needs if they don't meet their own needs first. Because we have to be centered within ourselves and emotionally present so then we can truly interact with other people. I, and I think another thing is that when I would say is that there are some things that I would talk about too, about the difference in voices we hear that prevent us from really developing our dreams. I'd love to talk about that more.
Yeah,
Some
absolutely. Just a quick question I have just for our audience. So, when you're speaking about dreams, it's not necessarily when we put our head down on the pillow and we have these dreams. You're talking about the dreams and aspirations we have for our life and what it is that stands in the way of us actually achieving them.
Yes, and by the time you finish the visionary dream coaching, you will have 10 dreams, and they cover every aspect of your life. It's personal, professional, relationships, health, family, community, fun, spiritual, and then a lot of times people want to add another dream. But I think what is important about the visionary dream coaching is we have a tremendous balance of our lives based on what is formulated in the program, and that's what helps people, because I think some people can meet they may not be able to meet their financial dream as quickly as they want, or their professional dream. It may take some years to do that, but then they'll notice that they are meeting other dreams like their health or their relationships or something.
Mm,
So I think they see success very quickly in this program.
thank you.
Dr. Jackalyn too. Uh, when I started becoming an entrepreneur many years ago, one of the things that the training taught us was to do vision boards where you put pictures of things up. Is that sort of what we're talking about, even directly or indirectly?
Well, I tell you, a vision board has its limitations because you put it up there, but then you don't know how to take action on them a lot of times. And you may forget them. And even though they're up there for you to think about, you may not do it. In the visionary dream coaching, there is a very systematic way to formulate your 10 dreams and to then learn how to really make them live. One of the things I would say that's really important is I talk about how do you have to assess your dreamer. All of us have the voice of the doubter that says you can't do this. But the doubter can be a friend and tell you what it's concerned about for you when you're trying to determine a financial dream or professional dream or something else, one of the other 10 dreams. And what I know is I teach people how to move from the doubter to the realist, to become the dreamer, and to understand they can dream, and then become a real visionary. And what I know is sometimes people don't think they can dream. And a woman came to see me and she started talking about something she wanted to do. And I said, "This is a phenomenal dream." And she said, "I never realized I could dream and really define something." Many people have them, and so it makes it a lot easier. But another thing that I think happens is people don't realize how much the doubter creates messages that prevent them from really fulfilling their dreams. So I take some time to really talk about how to manage the doubter through that whole process. And then, of course, we need to find ways to be successful ourselves. So a lot of times I go through a whole series of things, and this takes longer than just one time. But I go through a series of discussions with them about the things that they failed in their life and how do they think that has a real effect on their ability to fulfill their dreams. Then another thing that I do is I also start developing strategies and ways to tactically identify ways immediately that they can start working on their dreams one step at a time. I think people think about their dreams in large perspectives, but they don't know how to take the steps to do what is necessary to fulfill them. And I think I have some ways that I describe to people about utilizing strategy sheets and certain tactic sheets and so forth, that it can come out and it's amazing what they come up with that they can do. And I think about a gentleman who came to see me in a year and a month. He knew his 10 dreams. He was already meeting some of them because he had steps that he was taking. And we usually only work on 1 or 2 dreams at a time. But he was taking action. And what he said to me was, he said, when I came to you, I was severely depressed and I could not imagine where I was going. And he said, by working with you and going through this dream coaching, he said, and I did some executive coaching with him. And he said, I am now capable of really meeting what I've wanted to all my life. And I recently saw him and he said to me, here are the things I'm doing so far. Here's what I have met in one of my dreams. And he said, now I have some challenges, not only in my business, but in my personal life. And he said, it's been a blessing that I know exactly what my purpose is. I know exactly what my dreams are, and I'm not letting those challenges stop me.
One of the words you used earlier in the 10 categories was the word fun. I attend a lot of different networking events, and usually within 3 or 4 questions that I'm going back and forth about learning about somebody, I'll say, what do you do for fun? And most people can't answer that right off the top of their head. They have to think. And they tell me what they do again in their work. And I says, so you're telling me your work is fun? And they have to step back and say, I said, what exactly, do you do to realize what things do you really and truly enjoy outside of your work? And it's not an area that most people think about. So how do you work with people on defining fun in their world?
Well, I think one of the things I do is as they go through the other dreams, they begin to identify things that they have forgotten they used to do that they thought were fun. So that's one of the ways that I work on it. But I think another thing that I do is I go in and I say, for this fun dreams, I want you to tell me how you want to live your life. How do you want to feel when you're having fun? And I want you to go back in the years. I don't care if you go back to childhood or adolescence or young adulthood. Go back and imagine and see the things that you really enjoyed and thought were really outstanding and fun. And then let's make a list and see what are all the things you want to do. And I really laughed at myself because when I was doing this, I remembered when I was growing up that I loved to play basketball. And I had totally forgotten that. So I live in Houston, Texas, and I live near a park. And so occasionally I'll put on my high top tennis shoes and I will go play basketball. And it's just a lighthearted kind of thing. But I tell stories like that to them. And then as they begin to look at themselves and look at their list and so forth, then they begin to understand what is really exciting. I have a video of a gentleman who's a rock star, and he's loved music all of his life. And his interview is on my website. And what he talks about is that he started realizing even more some of the things he had been missing, even in music, by doing the visionary dream coaching. And I think it's made a major difference in how he plays his music today. And he has a lot more fun with it. So I think that's part of it. And as he says, as we age, musicians have some of these challenges. And he's realizing how he can meet those challenges and still enjoy what he does. And, he has his own band and so forth. So that's part of it. But I think the key thing, and most people spend way too much time talking about their business are talking about what they do every day or their activities. And one of the things I realized a long time ago, in America, we are too work project activity addicted. So sometimes I have a book that I use to show them when they are really not able to let go and find out what is really fun for them.
You mentioned the word imagine. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. And I know that Napoleon Hill had a quote, something about imagination being the most powerful force in the world or something like that. Uh, and it's something that we don't really think about very often. It's just imagining things. Uh, and so I think as we become more aware of life, we seek to become better educated in certain areas. What you're doing is you're opening up an area for a lot of people that they can do it. They just don't know how to do it, or they don't even know they can do it. And they go to Dr. Google or Dr. YouTube and they put in the right words and they start kind of figuring out things. Uh, what kind of success have you had with somebody who, let's say, you're somebody transitioning after the kids have left home? Now they don't know what they want to do in the world. I think that's an area where a lot of us kind of fall into. Our parents' health is starting to fail a little bit. Our kids are gone. We're here by ourselves. What advice do you have for people in that particular environment?
Well, I really appreciate you asking that, because I think a number of the people that I do visionary dream coaching with are in a transition period. Some of them are in a transition that they leave college and then they don't know what they want to do, and they go get a job, but they know that they're not as happy with that as they need to be. So, or would like to be. And so I talk with them. Those individuals that have already been in a profession for many, many, many years. They've been in corporate America, but now they want to do something different. And so they decide that they want to come and do the visionary dream coaching, because they find a whole different purpose in a new life, because of their purpose in the past was not what they want to do now, since that their adult children are already out of their house and or have their own jobs and their own lives. So I think this is the power of it. And I'll give you an example. I have a friend that's a judge. Um, and she came to me and she said, I don't know what I do. I lived my dream by being a judge for 20 years, and I don't know what I want to do next. And so she went through the visionary dream coaching, and we defined a whole new purpose and new things. And today she is living all of her dreams. She loves to travel. That's a great fun for her. And she's able to do that now. She's doing mediation and arbitration, and which she loves, but she has a time frame that she does that, so her life is not as demanding, so that she can meet the needs that her children have as they go off to college, and as they get into their own professions. So I think visionary dream coaching really meets a lot of those needs. I didn't get a chance to talk about the imagery and imaging things. But I think people go through the process and of the visionary dream coaching, and they are much better at imagining what they want to do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jackalyn. A follow-up question I have is, many times people are not able to fulfill their dreams because they're living someone else's dream. Maybe it was their parents' dream, maybe it was their partner's dream. And once they step out and go, hey, guess what? I'm going to pursue something else. People start raising their hand and saying, oh, no, you're not doing that. We don't have the money for that. We're not going to. And they put a roadblock up. So how do people consider other people in their lives when they want to fulfill their dreams and yet not lose people because people are not joining in?
Well, one of the things I would say is that sometimes we have to let go of individuals and not allow them to create the doubter in us, so that we do not meet our dreams. So one of the things I often do is say, you can still love one of your family members and you can still talk with them, but you may not share as much about what your dreams are, until you and I formulate them, you start meeting them, and then they can see what the results is of you living your dreams today. Because sometimes people that are threatened by the changes in things that people do in their lives. And so I think the best way to resolve that is just simply not share as much with that particular family member or friend, and go ahead and live and create those dreams. And then as they see the person live them, then they become much more supportive. And I think that's one way to deal with it. Another thing is there are family members and there are friends that are very supportive. And one of the things that we do in the end of the Visionary Dream Coaching is we create a dream team. And it's a group of friends that have listened to the person's all of their 10 dreams and are willing to help them with their financial and professional dream or whatever dream they want to complete. Because we don't complete our dreams without the help of other people. We can't meet some of the dreams, that are expansive and whatever. I'll give you an example. My dream team is helping me to meet my big expansive dream. And my big expansive dream is I will work in unlimited organizations to support them in creating a vibrant, exciting, and constantly developing environment to support diversity, equity, and inclusion, which leads to creating a socially just environment. I can't possibly do that by myself. And there are many of my other dreams that I'm not able to do. My dream is due to the fact that I have a number of health professionals that I work with that have helped me be as healthy as I am. Some people don't know this, and I'm very open about it. Most people guess me at age 63 to 65. I'm going to be 81 in April. So
wow.
I think that's
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Jackalyn, too, when we get into our retirement years, a lot of us are content. We're happy. We've done things. We may be in that area of our dream or enjoying it. But how do we know that there are future dreams that we should be doing and we're not even aware we should be thinking that way?
Thank you for that question. It's an excellent question. I don't think we should do anything. I do think that if you are happy with where you are, and yet you're interested in volunteering for organizations and being able to contribute more to your community, then what I would say is that you have an opportunity through the Visionary Dream Coaching to define what you really want to do. I've given a number of speeches to various organizations in town because they'll call me and say, I'm busier than I've ever been in volunteering, and I'm almost as tired as when I was working. And so I give a speech about, what do you do when you're exhausted with your volunteer work? And I think that people have to define what they really want to do. And it's never too late to do visionary dream coaching and decide what you're going to do next. I think that's the reason that I started a new business in March of last year to add to the one I already have, because I saw a need somewhere, and it was due to the fact that I have, worked the Visionary Dream program myself, as well as I've helped many other people. So that's what I would say. If you're happy and you don't want to change what you've got, then I would say live that life, enjoy it, and do whatever's important to you. And that's what I would offer.
Well, I have one corollary question to follow up with that one. Is that you mentioned you're in decent health, and I think most of us are. We have problems, but sometimes those problems get to a point where they affect us, our ability, our mobility, our ability to think. And sometimes the health issue dominates our lives that we cannot do what we want to do. And sometimes when that brain gets locked on, oh, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And you talked about, well, that roadblock, is that a similar roadblock from an emotional or other aspect that can be overcome when you do have a serious health problem?
Well, first of all, this is not something that I plan to talk about, but I have been I wrote a visionary dream book many, many years ago. And in 1975, I started working with cancer patients, heart patients, and I have worked with some that have had Alzheimer's and have dementia, and there are many other illnesses I've worked with. I've worked with over 311 people. And I think that sometimes there are limitations with dementia or Alzheimer's, which you were talking about, that I think it makes it harder. But I think there is a way to look at what we can have in quality life. And so I have another way that I work with individuals that have health issues, and I work on those health issues first. And we take the dream of having much better health or being able to utilize what we have available as our ability to be mobile or whatever else, and see what we can do with that to make that life that the person is living much more enjoyable and having a much better place where they can figure out what they really can do. I have a friend that has developed an amazing park here in Houston that has every kind. He's an engineer, and he and his firm have developed a park in Houston where there's someone in a wheelchair, there's someone that has limitations on what they can do, and there are mats on the park that literally help people that are blind or other things. I think there are ways to look at what is the health issue for the person, and then to work on ways to image having a much better health. And I've taught people how to do an imagery in which they imagine their themselves when they were physically most healthy, when they were emotionally most healthy, when they were mentally most healthy, and when they are spiritually connected with something greater than themselves. And through that process, then something happens and the person is lighter and they're more determined to do what is necessary. So I teach them how to do that on a daily basis so they can focus on themselves and then determine what they can do with the limitations they have. And that's been a privilege of my working that area since since 1975. So that's the way I would answer your question.
Okay. I've
Fantastic.
dominated the question, so I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Jackalyn one for a couple of. Go ahead.
Dr. Jackalyn. Dr. Jackalyn, in terms of fulfilling dreams, you mentioned 10 that you work with people for 10 different dreams, which I think is really exciting. Once we work with you, do we then have to, what I'm going to put in air quotes, put it out to the universe or put it out to a number of people on our dream team to get approval or see what comes back? And I guess where I'm going with this is sometimes we have dreams, but the universe has another story for us, and it can be confusing pursuing something, and yet the universe is coming back and going, I don't think so. What are your thoughts about that?
Thank you. That's an excellent question too. I will admit that our dreams are not like Moses' tablets in stone. I have had people that go through the visionary dream coaching, and then after they form their dream team, they still go see me a lot of times because they want to work on another dream, or they see me quarterly while they're working on the one dream to finish and complete and live in that life, or then they'll come back to me and start working again on another dream. So what I believe is because I teach them how to get in touch with their spiritual essence of their being and really listen to themselves and learn to be much more intuitive because they've gotten in touch with something greater than themselves, then they make decisions for the benefit of themselves. And I'll give you an example. I have a client who at one point she said, I just can't work on my financial professional dream right now. I've got 3 or 4 months. I've got to get my daughter off to college. I've got to do all these things. And I said, then stop. let's work on your family dream that you have and your personal dream that you want to do about your relationships before your daughter leaves and your relationship with her. And so we just changed the focus and did more work on her family and on her personal dreams. And it worked out. It was amazing how it worked. And now we're back to her daughter's off in college now. And now we're working on her financial and professional dream again.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
How does let's say a new business owner, they have skills to do this because they really love that part of their business, but they don't know how to do something else, let's just say social media marketing or SEO for their website or whatever. There's a lot of technical things out there. There's interpersonal skills for networking. How do you work with new business owners in establishing, you talked earlier about a mission and a vision, and how do you evoke those kinds of things out of a new business owner?
Thank you. How I do that is, one, I'm going to be on another one of Dr. Jackalyn's shows about my new business, DTP business strategy. And I have a whole library and a software process and all kinds of things that I can help a new business owner, and also have lessons and e-learnings, and have $1 million library that's available to anyone that doesn't understand social media or doesn't understand how to get leads or generate leads or all kinds of things like that. So that's one thing that I have available to business owners. The other thing is, when a business owner comes to me and says, I love what I do, but I am not clear about how I can do this and be healthy in the process because I'm working all the time in my business. And so my personal life and my relationships are being affected by it. And so what I do is I go in and do the visionary dream coaching with them, get a real definition of what they really want out of their life, get their 10 dreams, see how we can balance those 10 dreams, and also talk to them about how to be a new business owner and work differently. And one of the things that I use often is a book by Diane Fassel, which is Working Ourselves to Death. And that's one of the biggest problems I see in startups or, early development of businesses. And so I talk with them about what their behavior is, how we can change that behavior, and how they can work much more effectively. And that's what I can offer them. But I do have a significant number of other things. I also have a number of resources I've developed over the years. I have some social media people, digital people that I refer to, and other, like accountants and lawyers and so forth, because that's what often new business owners need. So that's how I would answer your question.
Thank you, Dr. Jackalyn. Number two, I see we're almost at the very, very end, but I mentioned Napoleon Hill earlier, but the other Napoleon, Bonaparte, also said imagination rules the world. And so from a vision and imagination, being able to take that in, I think we're at that point in time where we're ready to wrap things up. So I think, why don't you tell people, we kind of know what you do, but in a brief statement, tell us how you can add value to people's lives and how they can contact you and who should contact you.
Thank you. Anyone that wants to work on their 10 dreams, I would love to have you contact me. I've been a visionary dream coach for a number of years. I've also been an executive coach for over 47 years. So I have those expertise. If you want to contact me through my website, it's D like dog, T like Tom, P like Paul, -leadership.com. I've also put on the screen some information about me. Another thing I want to let you know is I'm giving an $800 reduction on the Visionary Dream Coaching course. And that includes also a habitual patterns assessment that I've developed that will tell you exactly how you're sabotaging yourself with behaviors that you may not be aware of. So I look forward to some of you at least calling and contacting me because I think you will see that living a life of dreams, it's much more exciting than trying to meet goals. There's a big difference. Dreams bring passion. Goals sometimes get really tiring to do. Doesn't mean we don't have goals that we use in the dream coaching, but dreams are very exciting and emotionally connecting and make your life much more valuable to you and the people you live with. Thank you.
And
Thank
one last
you.
thing to wrap things up here, Dr. Jackalyn Rainosek is Jack like Jack Olin, Jackalyn, Rainosek, Rain like rain, OSEK. So RAINOSEK for those people doing some research on her.